2012 Cadillac SRX all-wheel drive. 3.0. You have to do all fucking this, all of this, just to add washer fluid.
What the fuck does that go to? Jesus Christ, another fucking mystery box. Why do they make every fucking connector different? Like a Chinese finger trap. Why is it fucked up? Shit.
All right, today we're looking at the most cursed part on any modern car, the cabin air filter. It's a $5 piece of pleated paper that somehow requires a mechanical engineering degree and a chiropractor on standby just to touch it. So let's see what these guys had to deal with. This next one is a 2015 Lincoln, and the filter is tucked behind the glove box with the fuse block and BCM parked directly on top of it like they're guarding treasure.
To do a cabin air filter, right? Well, to do so, you have to remove the glove box. Well, Lincoln, in their infinite wisdom, decided to hide screws that you have to take out in order to take this thing out. So it's got 4. Here, which you can get to by dropping this door open. And then there's one down here, and then there's one over here. This one is hidden by this gigantic panel. This gigantic panel is trapped by this panel back here. And then you have to pop this panel off, and these pop tabs require you to pull this way. Well, guess what you need to pull this way? Space. Guess what you don't have? Space. And then, once you pull it out, you then have to pull backwards because it has more pop tabs up here. So it's not just as simple as pulling this way. You also then have to pull this way. And then you would think to yourself, okay, well, I've got 3 screws. That surely should be it. No, you have to pop this panel down because it's hiding the screw over here. So you finally get all of that done, right? This panel also comes off. It's down there. Unhook the stupid light. And then you're like, okay, surely this will just fall right out. Nope, you have to have it at the right specific angle, and this is still kind of in the way, so that makes that kind of hard. Now I can just pull it out, right? No, there's more screws.
Ford and Lincoln's engineers clearly looked at easy maintenance item and said, not on my watch. Here are things that should never, ever be inside a transmission, but automakers put there anyway. Whoever decided a transmission should double as a storage unit for critical serviceable parts needs to be dragged into a shop and handed a wrench personally. We've got a starter motor that's been buried inside the transmission itself, meaning the only way to get to it is by dropping the entire trans out of the car. This isn't a starter swap anymore, it's basically a transmission replacement with extra steps, and somewhere an engineer is sipping espresso completely unbothered by the 20 hours of labor they just created. And just when you think it can't get worse, here's a clutch slave cylinder that's also mounted inside the transmission instead of just bolting to the outside like a normal, sane component.
Skibidi toilet. Skibidi toilet. Skibidi toilet. Skibidi toilet.
Get fucking wrecked.
The Nissan Navara oil filter is tucked so far up front behind the radiator that owners on forums straight up call it a pig to get to, with people lying under the truck blind reaching with a chain wrench just to get a grip on it.
The one time the engineers actually listened to us. There's the oil filter lock. They fit a little drip tray. It's actually fitted to the subframe so it doesn't leak through the rail. And then you just got to fit the new one and clean that tray. Best thing I've seen an engineer do for a long time.
At this point, owners aren't doing oil changes, they're doing archaeology, carefully excavating a filter that was clearly buried on purpose out of spite.
Let me show you where the filter's at. It's going to be kind of hard to see. The oil filter housing is located right there, underneath the intake. You know, what in the
So you're paying supercar money for a supercar oil change, and somehow that's considered acceptable Italian engineering. All right, moving on from filters to something even more personal, a single bolt that engineers apparently decided should be as inconvenient as humanly possible to take out.
A wise mechanic once said,
Shit! God damn insane
some point, you have to wonder if these bolts are placed there deliberately, like some kind of hazing ritual mechanics have to pass before they're allowed to call themselves technicians. Either way, the bolt wins every time, and the only thing getting loosened here is the mechanic's sanity. All right, new topic, and this one's a personal favorite of mine. Automakers deciding that plastic, the same material as a milk jug, belongs on parts that hold your car together. Let's see how that's working out for everybody. First up, a plastic control arm, which is the part controlling your steering and suspension, made out of the same stuff as a lawn chair. Control arm bushings are already a wear item that breaks down from age, heat, and road salt, so putting a plastic arm on top of that is basically asking a part to fail twice for the price of one.
Well, welcome to the age of plastic front end parts. Plastic ball joint, obviously the ball socket will be metal. Plastic control arm. In no world can you convince me that a plastic control arm is a good idea. Hell, they tell us that our car seats for our children only last 7 years because the plastic can start breaking down. Now they're making control arms out of plastic. So a car seat can't last more than 7 years no matter what kind of plastic you use. But there's plastic that's going to be strong enough to last in a truck and not get brittle and crack. Definitely seen these control arms break already.
I don't know who decided a 2,000-pound corner of your car should pivot on plastic, but I hope they enjoyed that meeting. Next, we've got the plastic oil filter housing, and this one's infamous, especially on certain BMWs where the factory plastic housing gets brittle from heat cycles and cracks, leaking oil and coolant into each other.
This is why I don't like the plastic oil filter housing on a lot of newer Toyotas. For example, this one's a 2018 Toyota Highlander. In the previous location he went to, or wherever he took his car to get an oil change, they over-tightened it so tight I couldn't even take it off. So I had to use the leverage bar here and remove it, and look what else happened. Ended up cracking it.
And finally, the plastic oil pan, where even the drain plug threads are famous for stripping out if you so much as look at them wrong during a routine oil change.
Can you believe this car really has a plastic oil pan? The customer concern is that there's something leaking under the car, and it turns out it's the oil pan. More accurately, it's probably the level sender that's actually leaking. These are composite oil pans on these 1.8 Golfs, and that basically just means that the oil pan is plastic. Your first thought's probably, wow, that's really stupid that a car would have a plastic oil pan, but it's actually not that uncommon. And overall, despite the fact that this one's leaking, they held up pretty well. Remember that a lot of older Volkswagen engines had an aluminum pan, and really, they weren't much better. Now, even though the plastic pans aren't horrible, I am going to go back with a metal pan that I got from Shop DAP.
At this point, cars aren't being engineered, they're being built like they're supposed to fail right after the warranty runs out. All right, we're moving from parts hidden inside other parts to a new category, things that should never require a tire removal just to function, the Dodge Journey's battery situation, and I promise you, this one's a special kind of chaos.
Got a super quick battery replacement here on this Dodge Journey. You know, I wish Chrysler would just figure out where they want to put their batteries. In the wheel well, under the seat, in the trunk, under the hood. Shit, you might as well just hang it from a bungee cord underneath. Doesn't make a lot of sense. And you got this shield here, but still, you hit a puddle, it's just coming all up in here. You see all that grit in there already. I doubt this has anything to do with why the battery failed. Let's get her changed out. This probably would have came off if he lived anywhere other than Illinois. Real nice.
Somebody want to explain why Chevy thought it was a good idea to bolt the fucking rotor to the back of the wheel hub?
Rotor that's mounted on the back side of the hub instead of just sliding on and off like every rotor is supposed to, because apparently slide it off, slide the new one on was too easy a concept to leave alone.